What exactly is the Public Intelligence Project? It is an independent, nonpartisan think tank conducting research, education, and advocacy in four key areas: diversity, critical thinking, dialogue, and freedom of expression. The project seeks to promote more robust systems of participatory democracy, civic engagement, and conflict prevention. In other words, we want to create a culture of democracy. But doesn't a culture of democracy already exist in democratic societies? Let's take a look at the largest democracy in the world to find out. There are 1.2 billion people and counting in India. Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Jain, Christian, Buddhist, men, women, transgender, children, young adult, elderly, bisexual, heterosexual, homosexual, asexual, rich, poor, middle class, Punjabi, Malayali, Bengali, Gujarati, rural Indian, urban Indian, non-resident Indian, non-Indian, Brahmin, Dalit, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Harijan, Nair, Patel, Gauda, feminist, environmentalist, capitalist, Marxist, conservative, liberal, non-vegetarian, vegetarian, egalitarian, pescatarian, engineer, artist, lawyer, cook, doctor, entrepreneur, accountant. 1.2 billion voices, give or take a few millions. Charles de Gaulle governed a country with 246 varieties of cheese. That's a piece of cake. India is a country with 246 million opinions on cheese. Eat that! 1.2 billion voices speak of wants, needs, interests, and hopes. 1.2 billion monologues, ideas, debates, arguments every day. Voices whisper, mumble, shout, intimidate, threaten, trample. So how does each voice get heard? Universal adult franchise. Yes, the Constitution gives every voice a vote. Man or woman, rich or poor, upper or lower caste. Now that is a democracy, unlike a theocracy, an autocracy, a monarchy, a communist or a fascist state. Democracy gives everybody a voice, right? That's empowerment. Wait, is that it? That's empowerment? That's democracy? We get to vote once in 5 years? That's all we've got? Choosing between the almond party and the peanut union when we're told to? Throwing out one bunch of nuts and bringing in another? Is that what it means to be a democracy? That's empowerment? Citizens outsourcing all decision making to elected representatives? That's empowerment? Is there more to choice than choosing your leader? Can democracies empower citizens beyond voting? Can citizens determine their own future? Can they differentiate between competing visions and ideologies? Can voices matter more often than every 4 or 5 years? Can voices matter on things that matter? So how does one empower? It starts in the mind. Freedom to think, make your sense of the world, freedom to live with integrity, and freedom to express what we think. And it is meaningless unless we have the freedom to protest, dissent, mock, and satirize. Oh, don't get me wrong, we have free speech in India. The freedom to ban books, censor films, burn art, and exile painters. The freedom to abuse unbelievers, infidels, apostates, and blasphemers. Freedom to beat up women in short skirts. Freedom to lynch lovers. Freedom to shut others up. Freedom to shut oneself up, lest we offend another. And that's empowerment? George Orwell once said, if liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. Are we too emotional to hear what we don't want to hear? Are we too uneducated to read the writing on the wall? Are we too ignorant to be free? What is freedom if we're all told what to think? What is democracy without freedom? How can we just allow others to control what we think? What are we doing? Who are we fooling? Freedom empowers. And empowered people create healthy and real democracies. Democracy is much more than universal suffrage. It cannot be bestowed. Civic engagement needs to be fostered. Knowledge, discernment, and wisdom are not gifts from above. They must be encouraged and cultivated. Democracy is a learned habit. Like learning hygiene or eating healthy, it doesn't come naturally. It is hard work. Hard work generates power. Now that's empowerment. Democracies must respect the right to speak, the right to think, the right to opinions, the right to dissent. However, democracies do not have to respect your selective facts, your subjective evidence, your untested hypotheses, and your volatile sentiments. In Joseph Anton, a memoir, Salman Rushdie wrote, "All liberty required was that the space for discourse itself be protected. Liberty lay in the argument itself, not the resolution of that argument, and the ability to quarrel, even with the most cherished beliefs of others. A free society was not placid, but turbulent. The bazaar of conflicting was the place where freedom rang." But in that bazaar of conflicting, the question is anybody even listening? To empower someone, we need to listen to them. Giving the vote is easy. Listening is hard. We learn to listen to opinions that upset us, just like we learn democracy. We learn to listen through the practice and culture of dialogue. Dialogue enables us to engage in focused conversation to better understand ourselves and each other. A dialogue participant agrees to cease rhetoric and debate. Dialogue means we dig deep and be brutally honest. Dialogue helps us transcend the shackles of our opinions to a place of deep understanding. No topic is taboo in a dialogue, no topic too controversial. Now that's empowerment. Empowerment results when individuals engage in no-holds-barred conversations about the things they care about. Empowerment comes from knowing that each voice is heard, and democracy comes alive when empowered individuals deliberate contentious issues with respect and with clarity. Clarity comes from a rigorous examination of information using reason. In other words, clarity comes from critical thinking. Critical thinking challenges convention, tradition, and yesterday solutions. The power of critical thinking helps us deal with complexity, instability, and uncertainty. It helps us sort through the avalanche of information that we are confronted with every day, relevant or irrelevant, profound or meaningless, objective or subjective, real or imagined, sincere or manipulated. With it, we develop the skill to evaluate arguments and advocate intelligently. A people, an intelligent citizenry, become a democracy when they are empowered. Freedom to think and express, that's empowerment. Governance through constructive dialogue and civic participation, that's democracy.